Well, joining me now to discuss Congressman Steve Cohen, a Democrat from Tennessee. He's also a member of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Congressman, good to have you with us this morning. You've said it is not worth sacrificing infrastructure for a bill that the Senate will likely never agree on. If this is brought up, if the Speaker brings this to the floor today for a vote, are you definitely a yes on infrastructure?
I'm definitely a yes. I think we need the jobs that the infrastructure bill will create, directly and indirectly, and it's a major thing for a city like Memphis that's a distribution hub, but for America. And I've been in the Congress now 15 years on transportation. We've not passed an infrastructure bill the entire 15 years. So when you've been in the desert for a long time, even a warm pitcher of spit tastes good. And this is better than a warm pitcher of spit, but it's not exactly what we want, but it's an infrastructure bill, and I'm going to vote for it, and everybody really should.
The Speaker made clear on Sunday, and not a surprise to anybody who's watched the way that the Speaker works, that she won't bring a bill if she doesn't have the votes. And yet there is, some talk, as we've heard from some of our reporters this morning, that even if this were to be brought and there weren't the votes, let's say it did fail, that maybe that could help in some ways push things forward. Could you get on board with that line of thinking?
I'll support Nancy Pelosi in whatever line of thinking she comes up with. She is the most brilliant tactician in this Capitol, and maybe one of the most brilliant in the history of the United States Congress. She knows how to get votes. It's a very difficult task, but she'll be able to figure it out. It's maybe standing on an edge of a pin. She'll be able to do it, and I'll support Nancy, and she's going to be supporting Biden, and that's what Democrats need to do, and that's what Americans need to do. The items in the Build Back Better bill, lowering costs, lowering taxes, giving people jobs, health care, child care credits, it's so important, and we need to support it all.
Melanie Zanona just laid out sort of where the different camps stand within the Democratic Party, talking about both price tag and policy. Who do you think this morning, as we're looking at this, has more leverage? Progressives like your colleague, Congresswoman Jayapal, or Senators Manchin and Sinema?
Well, they're more progressives by far, but Sinema and Manchin have got a vote. They've made it clear that they're not comfortable with the bill as it exists, and they have to have their vote to get to 50. So it's a very tenuous situation. It's very difficult. So they've all got power, and they're all using it. They've all got egos, and they're enjoying the attention, I think. And it's a very difficult matter for America, because we need to move forward and we need to get things accomplished. And the Republicans are helping not at all. They have not supported the debt ceiling, which if we don't get the debt ceiling raised, we are not supporting the Constitution, which says we need the full faith and credit of the American government should never be put at risk. And we will be sacrificing that and possibly looking at a recession. And certainly it effects on people's pocketbooks if we don't pass the debt ceiling increase and keep our economy and our bond rating solid.
Look, there is a lot. There's no denying there's a lot on your plate right now. All very important. The debt ceiling, could soon take precedence for obvious reasons as we look at that clock that is ticking. There's also the reality of whether all of this infighting, this lack of agreement and negotiation could in fact tank the president's agenda, could have real consequences for Democrats in 2022. Representative Connolly saying you have to spend a little more time looking at the consequences. There will be hell to pay back home. You say Republicans aren't working with you. Of the House Republicans, I think there are at least a dozen, according to our reporters on Capitol Hill, perhaps a few more, who do plan to vote for infrastructure. Even if they vote for it, this tanks, they can go home and say, look at what we did. Do you think Democrats are thinking enough about how this could impact where they stand come 2022?
I don't think we're looking at that well enough. Colin Allred made an excellent speech in caucus a couple of days ago and laid it out just the way it is. If we don't get behind this bill and give the American public an infrastructure bill that they'd like to have and pass this Build Back Better bill if we can, we're ruining Biden's agenda. And if we don't show that we can govern, we're risking our majority in 2022 and we're risking our democracy in 2024, because if Joe Biden or the Democratic nominee in 2024 loses, and they easily could because of failure to accomplish things in this Congress, then we could have a Trump presidency. And that would, in my opinion, be the end of democracy in this country. And it'd be the vengeance tour would not be something that the Constitution forefathers looked towards. I don't want to suggest that the progressives are wrong. They have good attitudes and good instincts and good goals. But they haven't been legislators, most of them, for a very long period of time, and a lot of them have been activists and tried to get things in other ways. I've been a legislator for 44 years. My car is older than quite a few of the progressives. Experience teaches you. You got to get things done for the American people, and it takes compromise. And I'm willing to do it, and I'm a progressive with a capital P.
Congressman, we're going to have to leave it there. Appreciate your time this morning, and we'll continue to check in, see how that message is being received with your colleagues.
You're welcome.
Still to come. Thanks again.